so glad you came. I'm going to move over here a little bit and start talking right here in this area. When I started doing this project and thinking about it, the first thing that I thought about was the elements, earth, wind, fire, sea, and sky, and how they went back historically. And there's a good deal of information on this sheet here about all the different civilizations going back to Babylonian times that use those concepts, and basically they're joined in the sense that they felt that these 5 elements made up everything that was part of life on Earth. And so they thought they sort of joined segments of it to represent different aspects of life, or what things were actually made of, or how we communicated with each other. So it's sort of a global feeling that goes way back on the elements. But when I started, the starting point was really close to the elements in paganism. And they were earth as an element of stability, wisdom, knowledge, strength, growth, and prosperity. Air was related to communication, to wisdom or the powers of the mind. Fire is purifying and connected to strong will, energy, and fertility. Water is associated with healing, cleansing, purification, as well as with passion and emotion. And ether, which is often the name they use for the sky, or they call it the void sometimes. Sometimes it's spelled E-T-H-E-R, sometimes it's spelled A-E-T-H-E-R. It's purely a spiritual element. It's the realm of the all. It's protection and justice, movement and mastery, life and death and rebirth. So that interested me, and that's where I started. But as a painter, I was looking for something very dynamic to show the differences in these elements. And what occurred to me is how there were so many contrasts in them. You had the earth here that is very peaceful and it's very lush. These paintings are set earth, wind, fire, sea, sky. Then turn around, you'll see it again. Earth, wind, fire, sea, and on the far wall, sky. So you would compare this earth to that earth, the second picture on the wall. So this is lush and green, and that is barren desert, and the only thing that's springing up are wildflowers. At a certain period of time in Australia near the rock of Uluru, they do get some growth. Otherwise, it's just sand, and there are no trees at all on Uluru. It's just a barren wasteland. So that difference in the elements is what attracted me, and that's the direction I went with my paintings. So you have wind, the devastating tornado, and then you compare it to the shears. There's the gentle breeze blowing through the window. So at once you have something that's threatening and terrifying about wind, and then you have something you have great memories. As a child, sitting in the house, the wind blowing the curtains, and all these wonderful feelings. Fire, of course, the worst part about it is it can be devastating. If it gets out of hand, your house is down. You've lost everything you have. You are aimlessly wandering in the yard. The father showing up to comfort the mother shielding her face from the flames. The daughter can't stand the flames. It's moving back away to get out of the heat. The brother is calling to the sister as she walks across the yard. And you're just in this scorched wasteland where the only fire that's not there is what's already been burnt. There's just nothing left and nothing you can do. But then you compare it to the dog lying by the fire. This is actually my dog. And lying by the fire, and how comfortable that you can contain that fire. You're in the wonderful comfort and warmth of a fireplace. And then you have the sea, where it's sand and shallows. You can run through there and splash and play. And the water's hitting the rocks, and it makes a big spray, and you can stand there in your swimsuit and have the water come over you. But then you have Rogue Wave, and I'll walk over there in a minute and tell you all about Rogue Wave, because it's sort of a special painting. And that's, Rogue Wave is one that's an enormous wave. They usually measure like about 75 feet or bigger, so that's what that picture is. And this was from 759. I was driving one day, and that's what it looked like when I was driving down toward Gadsden High. And in this, you have these big storm clouds gathering, and I thought, well, that's interesting, the mounting clouds. And then all of a sudden, this wonderful burst of light out of them. So I called it hope, even though this is showing the threatening part of the sky. To me, there was still some wonderful element of hope in it. And then, of course, that is compared to the Serengeti. The Serengeti is a large plain in Africa that goes over 2 African countries, and most of the wildlife there come there for the grasses and the water, and there's a lot available on the plain, so you see thousands and thousands of animals there. And in the morning, it'll look very foggy, and they have the little curved umbrella-shaped trees on the plain, and they get these huge, beautiful sunrises because it's just perfectly flat forever. So some of the most spectacular sunrises in the world are there on the Serengeti.